don't know. I'm just so locked in. I feel like I'm touching my prime. I'm touching my prime years. I'm getting better and better. I've been watching my fights, and I just feel like I'm touching these years where it's about to get real scary for these fighters. I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter could beat me.
Welcome to BodyWork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWorkBoxing. Man. I'm speechless, man, because oftentimes when you're forward thinking and you have strong ambitions, premonitions even, and without using all the fancy stuff, you basically call it like it is, and you just bring a different perspective. I always talk about playback value. You're like, Mike, why are you talking about playback value? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Yesterday, Top Rank released the footage of Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos. And I watched it. I watched it again. This is fight week. We got Young Skull and Shakur, and I'm like, let me go back. Let me look and see. It was a treat to go back and see. And then I strolled down to the comment section. Man, I've heard and seen so many different comments where people are like, Top Rank wrong. Why would they do that during fight week? And why I'm like, yeah, they gonna put out some of the worst. I'm like, it's kind of funny because, man, fans, man, they love to call people, blank sexuals and blankomaniacs, but, man, like, the stuff that they say, it's like, as a boxing fan, why are you embarrassed by a fighter's fight? Ain't that kind of weird? But it speaks to something I said a while ago. A lot of people made a big deal about when Coach Calvin said, man, don't nobody want to see nobody run all day, or, man, he won't let us do what we do. They ran with that. Oh, what you mean do what he do? Like, we'll stand there and get hit like a pinata? Like, no, that's not what he was talking about. And when you look at that fight with Shakur and Edwin De Los Santos, Shakur just didn't want to engage. We know that he's a defensive fighter. We know that he tends to evade, elude, get out the way, and he's definitely more defensive than offense. They even put up a statistic where his plus minus, the sport of boxing thing, the hit and not get hit thing, was a 20. Was a positive 20. You know what I'm saying? Whereas more than likely, and at that time, it was the biggest. I don't think much has changed. I think, for years, him and Dimitri Bivol been going back and forth. And I said that one of the other things with Bivol is that Bivol is slightly more offensive than Shakur. I think that Shakur, believe it or not, Shakur might have more power, but as far as volume, I think Bivol's offensive volume is a little bit better, and you equip that with being more defensive. It's almost like he's perfectly balanced. But Bivol's not known for his power. Shakur's not known for his power either. But he draws a lot of Mayweather comparisons. And, at first sight, I could give him credit for some of the Mayweather comparisons. As far as the not get hit, being defensively sound, not feeling right when people touching you too much. Like, he took that from Floyd, definitely. But what Floyd was able to do was he was able to hit and not get hit. Meaning that, okay, because I made this joke and it got popular. I heard a lot of people saying it. It is hit and not get hit. It's not, the motto was not get hit and hit. Even though Floyd, he embodied that. But he was perfectly balanced with offense and defense. And in his younger years, he was putting people lights out. So where Shakur, he tends to take on that not get hit and hit mentality. And we have seen when he's engaging somebody that has a lot of power, he doesn't truly engage. You know, he's not truly engaged. He tends to be more elusive, you know, because that's his whole thing. I'm not going to get touched. I'm not going to get touched. Right? But we saw a lot of that in the Edwin De Los Santos fight. And a lot of fans were upset with Top Rank for re-airing that fight and saying they was dirty and all this. And I'm like, man, listen, man. Fans sound like clowns when they make statements like that. Why? Because that's the footage that everybody want. Like, that's a performance that he gave the fans. Like, that's something that people can go back and critique and look at it. But because it wasn't some of his best work, fans don't even want people to see that. Which brings me full circle into what I talked about a while back, talking about playback value. I believe as content creators and as boxers, any kind of creator, man, you know, you always want for your, just like music back in the day. You know, you can pop into DMX, you can pop into Scarface, you can pop in, I can go on and on. You can Reasonable Doubt from Jay-Z, you can pop in that, what was it, that Eminem with the red curtain. Some of it's like, no matter how much time goes by, whenever you listen to it, it still has playback value. It's not dated. That's why we go back and watch some of the greats. That's why we go back and watch some of the performance like what Floyd did with Diego Corrales. You know, we go back and watch the Floyd and Zab Judah. We go back because it has playback value. Yeah, there are fans that, you know, will say, oh man, why you gonna put on that one with Floyd? Put on this one with Floyd. But nobody's gonna cringe and be like, oh no man, why y'all playing that of Floyd? Like, it don't even sound right. And that's what I think the coaches were talking about, man. It's not, they weren't not trying to dictate a style or convey to the masses that don't nobody want to see Shakur use his evasive style against Tate. That's not what they were saying. Or my interpretation. Let me be correct, because I have no affiliation. My interpretation was that when that fight goes on and it goes down, they actually want to see a fight. Whether your style is to be more defensive, to use more of the ring or whatever, that's why they have the ring sizes and bigger ring sizes for movers. And when you're the A side, you tend to have a bigger ring if you're the boxer, or if you're a come forward fighter, pressure fighter, you tend to lean for, you know, the smaller ring and stuff like that. Like when you think about Canelo and Caleb Plant, you know, of course Canelo wanted a smaller ring. And Caleb Plant, since he likes to use his feet, he would allude to having a larger ring. But nobody was going in there and saying, oh man, Caleb better not run. No. At the end of the day, when fighters tune in to see a fight, they want to see a fight. Regardless of your style. Regardless if you're a rigging dial and all that, they'll say that with a rigging dial because he used his feet. And then, you know, especially the last couple fights he had where he just pretty much totally evaded. Like, didn't even engage at all. Like, you know, it was an eyesore. You know, and it wasn't because of his style. It was because, like, people felt like they didn't get a fight. And I think that's what fans are missing in there. You know, they do this attempt to be able to glaze and be politically correct and all. I think all that stuff, it's a time to be politically correct. And when you're dealing with racism and racial tones and things like that, yeah, that's the time to be politically correct. But when you're actually evaluating someone and you're looking for a fight and you're a fan and just want to see people get it on and you want to see, quote unquote, the best fight, the best, that's the time when people pay their money. They buy tickets, they book hotel rooms, you know, they, you know, set up, like us in our house, we set up the projector, we put it on the big screen, we see everything like we're ringside because the screen is just that big and we looking up and we can see everything. People want to see a fight. And if we do get a fight, when they re-air your fight, then it'll have playback value. But if you have to pick and choose when your boxer, which fight you want people to see of your boxer because you're like, oh man, that's not his best work, it's like, that's kind of cringy as a fan, man. And I think that with fight week coming, I don't think that Shakur's gonna have to worry about that because Schofield, he's a very active fighter. You know, he might be a little rough around the edges at times, but I think he knows that this is his moment. And I think that in this situation with Shakur coming off the hands, the condition of the hands, with Schofield having a chip on his shoulder and having something to prove, and, you know, this fight actually falling in his lap because it should have been Zepeda, I think we're in for a fight that regardless if Shakur used that style or not, I think we're in for a fight that's going to have playback value. Why? Because we either going to see Floyd Schofield do something amazing, which nobody's really expecting him to do, and knock out Shakur, or we're going to see Shakur Stevenson coming back after surgery with healthy hands, put on the clinic, and show that this is just another boxer who can't touch me. Hammer time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking forward to it, man. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? How do you feel? How do you see the fight going? And is this fight going to have playback value? I think it is. I'm leaning towards yes. But that De Los Santos and Shakur fight, even the commentary with Tim Bradley, you know what I'm saying? They was making every excuse, but they don't judge other fighters like that. That's just my little, my little added little to the situation. That's my take on it. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.